Nadine asked me a great question on Schoology. She was wondering, is there any app on the iPad that you can use to work on Word documents? She's wondering how much photocopying she'll have to do next year when we have iPads. So the answer to that isn't an easy one, and I did respond to her there. But I think this question might best be answered with a video. So let me answer it, because there are a few different reasons you might want to normally make photocopies. It might just be for information. It might be something where you want the students to use it as a worksheet, etc. So let me answer that in a slightly more complicated way, but very visual way. Okay, so let's say you create a Word document on your PDF, or let's say you have one with student work from last year. Now let's say this is just information. So what I would normally do is maybe save it, and I'm going to save it there in my Google Drive as a Word document, and I might have printed that in the past and give it to students. What I could do now is, if it's something that I want them to open up and start typing here, a Word document would work fine. And what I could do is save that to Schoology. So I could go into one of my courses and then upload it. As a file. Maybe as a file, or maybe part of an assignment. I could do that as well. So I could always add an assignment, give it a name, and then upload the file. Name, description, and file. So I saved it in my Google Drive. There it is, student work. I say open, and it's uploading. And then I'll say create. So now I've just made a dummy assignment, and it's there in Schoology. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to flip over to my iPad for a second, and I'll go into the Schoology app. And as a student, I'll be able to see any of the assignments that the teacher has posted. Now, one thing to keep in mind when you're working with Word documents on the iPad, it's going to depend, well, the formatting could look a little funny. So let me just show you what I mean here. It won't for this one because it's very simple, but if I click that, it's going to download the Word document right to the iPad. It'll show it to me, and as you can see, it's what we created just there in Word a second ago. If this is just information for the student, they can look at it right here. As I said, if it has fancy tables and stuff, the formatting could get a little weird, and that's where PDFs are better. But if you want the students to type something into this document, they could then click this little arrow and then say open in Pages. And what it'll do is it'll transfer it over here to Pages. They can click it to open it. Notice it still has the same file name, and then they can add whatever they want to. And they can even send it back to you. And here's how they do that. You click here on the gear and say share and print, open in another app, and they can send it back to you as a Word file or a PDF. I always like getting PDF files back myself as a teacher. Then they choose which app, and they're going to send it to you in Schoology, so they just say that. And then if they were a student, I'm not set up as a student in that class, but what they do is they choose submit to Dropbox, and then whatever course they're a part of, and then whatever assignment it was. And now it's submitting that as an assignment back to the teacher. Now, if you want the formatting to always look perfect, you might want to start doing things in Pages instead of Word on your computer. So if you're preparing documents ahead of time, Pages is great. Let me just say new document, And the cool thing about Pages is the version of Pages that we have on the iPads is the same, more or less. So you can even get into fancy posters here. And I could choose that. Again, I'll save this. Save. Let me just throw it on my Google Drive again. Student work 2. Google Drive. Save. And now, if I were to go back to that same assignment that I just set up, I think it was that one, and I'll edit it and upload the Pages document instead. Student work 2. That's uploading that. Save changes. And then back here on my iPad, if I flip back to the Schoology app and go back into that assignment, let me just refresh. I can refresh the content just by pulling down. So I'll go there, and there's the assignment, and there's the Pages file. If I click that, it should download. It's going to say, it'll look, the formatting will look just the same. I can push this little square, a rectangle with an arrow jumping out of it, means print or send to another app. I can open it in Pages again. That one's saving, the new one's uploading. It's just saying there's better quality images, I can download them. And it's importing. And now when I open it up on my iPad, I have all of the interesting and amazing looking formatting that I would here on the iPad. Now, one other thing just to show you, as a student, let's say I create a new document. Let's say you want to ask them to word process something. They can choose anything from a blank piece of paper to, again, some sort of fancy template. They can edit that, and when they're done, they can send it back to you in Schoology. Open in another app. You can send it as a PDF or a Pages file. If you want to be able to directly edit it as a Pages document on your computer or on your iPad, then have them set it as a Pages file. If you're just happy to see the final version, have them send it as a PDF. The other thing I like about having it sent as a PDF is then I can write directly on top of it with a with the Notability app, which I've made a video of before, and I'll link to that here. So anyway, choose whatever you want. I'll say Pages. They'll ask choose app, and you can say open in Schoology. And then Schoology asks again, what do you want to do? I can submit it to a Dropbox or drop it back to a student. Incidentally, if I was a teacher and I had just opened up a piece of student work here on my iPad, I might have edited it and then I'm sending it back to the student for them to make corrections or whatever. I could say drop back to student. It asks me which course. It asks me which assignment it was that they were working on, and then it'll, right now there are no students in there, but it would say, hey, which student should we send it back to? So let's try a different course here. I'm not a part of any other course. Anyway, but again, as a student, I could say submit to Dropbox, choose the course I'm a part of, and whichever assignment it is. And then it'll upload it right from my iPad and right to the teacher. The teacher can see right away that the assignment has been submitted. So as you're wandering around the class with your iPad, you can keep refreshing to see who's handed in what and let people, go as they've properly handed in work. Just one other example. Let's say you created something, a form of some sort that you wanted students to fill in. Normally you'd have them fill it in with their pen and paper after you printed it out. What you could do is create that in Word, or take a picture of it with the camera of your iPad if it's something that's that you already have a paper copy of, for example. Then you could save it as a PDF. So here's how you do that. I can just say File, and the way I like to do it, from anywhere in Mac OS X, you can just say File and Print, and then just go to this PDF button and say Save as PDF. You can literally turn anything that you can print into a PDF. I'll throw it on my Google Drive and just call it studentwork3.pdf. All right, back on Schoology, I'm editing that same assignment that we were working on before. Here I'm going to go to my Google Drive, and let's find studentwork3 this time. And it's just a little further down. Studentwork3, there's the PDF. It's uploading, it's complete. I save changes. I'm going to hop over my iPad here for a second. Again, as a student, let's say I'll just refresh that again. Go into assignment, and there it is, the PDF that we just put up there. I can click on that. It's going to open up there on my iPad. Now let's say I'm a student, I want to write on top of that, like I normally do with a pen. I can push this little rectangle with an arrow and then say open in Notability. Notability is a great app for writing on top of stuff. Sometimes I get emailed forms and people want me to fill it out and mail it back to them. I'm going to create a new note. And then this is Notability. I've showed a lot of you this in the past for marking student work, but I can then do this in one of two ways. I can just pinch to zoom in as a student, and then use the pen tool up here to write my answers in. Etc. And then I can send it back to the teacher when I'm done. This rectangle with the arrow hopping out of it, and then open in another app, open in Schoology, and then I'm going to submit it back to the teacher. Just like that. And that is how you can have students edit Word documents or Pages documents on their iPad.